Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is an announcement video for OctPOEber of 2025. So OctPOEber, as you can probably tell, is an event where we read and we celebrate Poe in the month of October, which is a perfect month for him, especially if you're in the United States. That is spooky season, right? That is the lead up to Halloween. Poe, for me, is important for many reasons. One of them being that I am a lifelong horror fan. So yes, he fits very firmly and easily into my world. But Poe really was the author who, at least in part, got me into books, got me into literature and poetry and reading. I discovered him really in high school, and I was just kind of captivated by the stories. I love them, and just kind of a dark, macabre aesthetic. And I kind of credit Poe for helping to make me a book person. It's been a long time now, actually, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I read the complete works of Poe. So everything that I read for this event that he has written will be a reread for me. But it's been a while since I've really dived into the stories. And I have this bust here. This usually is inside my horror bookcase that I have on another part of this room. I'm inside my library right now. And he has a nice prominent display there. And Poe still manages to be a part of my life. Just a few months ago, it was actually at the end of July, my wife and I went to a Edgar Allan Poe speakeasy, which was a traveling show where actors would perform Poe stories, and they would give you a custom cocktail that went along with the story. So of course this is an adults-only sort of event, but it was fun. They ended up performing The Telltale Heart, The Black Cat, The Raven, and Mask of the Red Death. And in between each show, they would end up giving us a cocktail. So to give you an idea about what it was like, I'm just going to put some clips in here now of it.
The eye of a vulture. That was a vulture. A thin, pale, blue eye with a film over it. And whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so I decided I would take the life of the old man. I would rid myself of the eye forever.
Eggs, we had goldfish, we had rabbits, we had a great dog, Alan. Shit, we had a monkey even. Not so good. And we had a cat. And this cat.
Wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word. Lenore? This I whispered, and an echo murmured back.
He called to him 1,000 healthy, hardy friends, and with them all went to live far away in one of his palaces. Now this was a large and beautiful stone structure, with stone walls circling.
So we had a great time, and my wife didn't know all the Poe stories, so she was actually surprised by the endings, which was a nice treat for me. These are the cocktails. You could always pause the screen there if you want to see what they were making, and they were all good, and they were potent. They weren't cheaping out on the alcohol, which was really nice. Poe remains a part of my life. It remains a joy of mine. So how can you participate in OctPOEber? Because these are all things that I would be doing anyway, even if I was not a co-host of this event. So the first thing, and Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads, he came up with these prompts. He is one of the co-hosts. Another co-host is Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. And then there is myself. I'm happy to be a co-host this year. This was originally created by Erica over a Passage of Time, but she isn't really making videos these days. but we're happy to carry on this tradition. I had kind of participated, like I said, anyway, in OctPOEber. I've just never been a co-host before. But if you want to participate, this is what you can do. First is read a poem or poems by Poe. Now, of course, his most famous is The Raven. Arguably not only the most famous poem in American literature, but one of the most famous poems worldwide. That is a very far-reaching poem. But he has lots of different poems. You can really choose any of them. Most of them are not long at all. This will not take you a very long time. The next thing is read a story or stories by Poe. So I have this, which I was happy to find secondhand, maybe last year maybe. This is a unabridged reproduction of a 1933 edition of Poe with illustrations by Harry Clark, and I love the images in here. Show a couple examples. That's a good one. There are black and white images. There are also some color images. Let's see if I can find a color image for you here really quickly. Yeah, here's something there. So these are great. So I don't know what story I'm going to read yet, but when I do read it, I am going to read it out of here. Finally start cracking this open and going through it. That's all you got to do. Read a story, and his stories are short. Most of them are not very long at all. So you can get through some of them in pretty short amount of time, especially if it's something like The Telltale Heart. That's really pretty much only a few pages. The next prompt, watch or read something inspired by Poe. So there have been series, there have been movies. I might end up rewatching Roger Corman's Mask of the Red Death, starring Vincent Price. That's probably my favorite Corman Poe adaptation. I love the vibrant colors and just how they put that whole thing together. I think it's one of the best ones. But you know, that is obviously a choice that you can make as well. There was the Mike Flanagan series that's still on Netflix. That's inspired by Poe. There's lots of different things that are inspired by Poe. You can of course read things inspired by Poe as well. One of my favorite books growing up, I don't know exactly where it is. It's somewhere in this library. Is The Man Who Was Poe by Avi. And it's a good young adult novel. If you want something quick and something very easy to read, it takes place in, I think, 1840s Providence, Rhode Island. And there is a boy who, his sister goes missing, and he basically enlists Poe to try and help him solve this mystery. But this is a Poe who is towards the end of his life, and he is kind of erratic. He is difficult to deal with. He is dealing with his own demons. So he is helping, and he's a genius, but he's a very difficult person to be around. And I always had a really good time with that book. So that's just one recommendation if you're looking for something, you know, for a younger reader maybe. Another thing that I would include inside this prompt is biographies. So the last 2 years, I had read each year a biography of Poe. First, I had read this, The Man of the Crowd, Edgar Allan Poe and the City by Scott Peele. This is from Princeton University Press. This looks at the different cities that Poe lived in. He lived in quite a few cities, and how those cities shaped him and how they shaped his work. So, you know, you've got this, and then there is a biography. This is from the University Press of Mississippi. I read this one last year by James N. Hutchison, and I thought this one was pretty good as well. I know there's a newer biography of Poe that I haven't read yet, but these are the two that I've read so far, and I would recommend both of them. You know, Poe he's a tragic figure. He had something that he called the imp of the perverse, if I'm remembering that correctly. Basically, it's like the instinct to self-destruct, and he definitely had that. Every time things were going well for him, he would end up ruining it. So, fascinating life. If you want to watch somebody's very slow kind of downward spiral, you can read a biography of Poe. And the last prompt is to visit a ghostly or haunted site in your location. Now, I think you can interpret that in various ways. For instance, in our area, we have a really great haunted trail that we always go to. So, you know, haunted, I guess, is up for interpretation. You know, if you want to go to a Halloween attraction, I think that would probably work. Or maybe you have something kind of unsettling, macabre, spooky around your area. Maybe just go kind of check those out. And you know, maybe if you have a video, film it, or talk about it, or just kind of bask in the sort of depressing, macabre nature that is Poe. Take a walk in an old cemetery or something like that even. But that's it. Those are the 4 prompts. So once again, read a poem, read a story, read something about or inspired by him, visit a spooky or haunted location. And that's it. If you do that, you will have participated in OctPOEber. So, on behalf of Edgar here, thank you, BookTube.